Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in today to Izzy, the tech guy. Today, we'll be discussing some more SQL, introduction to beginner SQL. And today, what we're going to be discussing from w3schools.com is the where clause, and we're going to discuss and, or, and not clause. So, without any other delays, let's get into it and let's go ahead. So, again, go to W3School. And if this is your first time tuning in, this is how you get here. You go to w3school.com. You'll come up with this page. You go to tutorial. And then you go to learn SQL. And where we're at today is down here on this tab, the SQL where clause. So last week we talked about the select, and we're going to continue with the where syntax today, the where clause. The where clause, it's used to filter records. Basically, if there's conditions that your record needs to display, you'll use your where clause. Here's the syntax of how W3, well, the ANSI syntax, let me say that. So basically, this will work on MySQL, Oracle, Teradata, whichever one you're using. This will work. This format right here. And then let's go ahead and go down here. And this note right here, we're not going to focus on this note today. You can read it if you like, but again, this is for a beginner's class, so we're not going to get into the updates and delete statements. So if you are a beginner, I would say, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and skip this for now, but we'll get into that in another episode, or not in another series. So here, this is a section of the table that we're going to be using, the customer table from W3 School. If we look here at this information, where a where clause would be used or implemented is, let's say for instance, this is our data set, and we want only customers in Mexico or only customers in Germany. That's when you say, hey, I don't care about the other records in here, I just want this specific condition. And that's where the where clause will come in. So let's go ahead and see here what they're using. So the following SQL statement selects all the customers from the country Mexico in the customers table. So exactly. So I believe we should see two records here. I could be wrong. So again, let's try this out. Click on the Try It Yourself button. And then it pops up here, this tab. So okay, so let's look here. It says select star. So this means show me everything from that table. So the star is not show me everything. Show me every column. Let me best clear that out. So show me every column from the customers table where that customer's country equals Mexico. So let's run the SQL. And then we get 5 records. And again, let's use our little cheat section right here. We know the customers table has how many records? 91. So out of those 91, only 5 records have a customer that resides in Mexico. And here's the 5 records here. And if you want to just, hey, I want to know the name of the customers, you can come up here. Name. And I'll do the way they do it this time. Last episode I talked about how I like putting my commas before. I'll just put it like how they have it, and we'll just stay consistent. So let's say we want the customer name, the address, the city, and yeah, that's it. The city, and we already know we're looking for country, but that's in Mexico. But let's say, for instance, hey, we kind of have trust issues. We'll put country. Now, notice here, I did not put the comma. Last episode, I had a comma here. This episode, I'm not going to put a comma behind the last column that I'm listing in my select statement, and that's because this is the last column. So that's one thing to remember. If you run into some issues, look at your commas and look at the spelling as well, those two. Let me go ahead and do it and show you. So I'm going to add a comma. It's going to error out. Okay, and one thing about W3 School, it'll kind of give you a hint of where the error is at. Most SQL editors will do that as well. So it's saying could not prepare statement near from syntax error. So basically there's a syntax error near the from statement. So let's look at the from. Add from. Customer looks good. Let's look in front of it. Again, it was a mistake I made earlier. So let's take that out. Run the SQL, and then bam, we have our results. We have the customer's name, the address, the city, and the country. And that's because we specified in the where clause what we want. So let's say we want if it's from the USA. Let's see if that's an option. Run it. Yeah, 13 people. And again, the customer's name, address, city. So you can change whatever you want in the country. Let's say we want them from Mars. Of course, we know Mars is not a country. Mars is not a country, so we expect 0 results. No results. Okay. And let's try this. What if we just do USA all lowercase? What do you guys think will happen? And I'm running it here. Nothing's coming back. That's why some databases, they are lower and uppercase sensitive, so be mindful of that. You might think, oh, there's no results, but again, that's one thing why I say it's good to know your data and then to understand what's in the table. So run it again because it was lowercase. And some SQL editors I've seen, I can't remember which one though. If it's lower or uppercase, it will ignore that and bring back the results. So that's kind of good. Okay, so let's try it here again. Let's do Mexico, all lowercase. And I expect 0 results. 0 result. And we checked before, we saw Mexico was in there. So again, when you're using W3 School, you have to be mindful of your of how you upper and lowercase words. So again, you see here, if I tried my capitalize all of it, it didn't return. So that's with the where clause. So let's move on. Let's see here what it says. Okay, sorry, I did not discuss that. So when you saw me write in the SQL editor, one thing is, since it's a text column, you have to put either an apostrophe or a quotation. Let me see here if this accepts both. Now let's say I just put it in like this, Mexico. Since this is a text, I'll get an error message. No such column. So it thinks you're comparing 2 columns. So that's why you have to use either apostrophe or the double quote. So that's very important to remember here. And they talk about here. SQL requires single quotes around text values. Most database systems will also allow you to use the double quotes. However, numeric fields should not be enclosed in quotes. And that this can be a pain in the butt when you're out there on your own. So we have customer ID in this table. Let me scroll up here. Let me include customer ID. And you see here I added another column, so I included the comma at the end. So customer ID. What did I spell wrong here? Let's come back here. Oh, that was my mistake. Usually the way certain databases that I work with, they have an underscore between words, but this one doesn't. So let me fix that. So customer ID. So if you see here, all these customer IDs. So let's say if I do this, I'm going to change my where statement to ID equals 2. What do you think is going to happen here? Let's see. It comes back. But this is not necessary because, again, this will cause you a lot of pains. Depending on, see if you still came back. Let's change it to 4. So numbers, you don't have to use double quotes or apostrophes. So here you see I didn't use any double quotes or anything, and it came back. And that's exactly what it's saying here. However, numeric fields should not be enclosed in quotes. And that's why I say that's a pain when you start working on your own database, because some DBs, database folks, they'll store number as a text. So you're sitting there putting in equals 1, and you're not getting results back. Little did you know that it stored as a text, so you might have to use your quotes or double quotes. So that's very important to know. And then here down below, it talks about some of the equations you can do, or some of the expressions you can use. So like, let's say for instance, I want every customer that has a customer ID greater than 4. You can do that. So think of this as a math problem. So if you look here, I get 87 because all of these customers are greater than 4. But customer with customer ID 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not included. And you can also do greater than or equal to. So put that here. You see now 4 is included. And you can also do not equal to. So this is not equal to. Run that. So you see you get everything except 1, and that's the number 4. Another way to do not equal to is like this. See again, same results. Let's change this to 9 just to show the difference. So you see here's 4, but we don't have 9 now. That's another way to do. What else do we have? We can do between, like, and between, like, and in. We'll talk about these a little bit later, but definitely practice with these. You can do greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to. It doesn't talk about the not equal I just showed you guys, but this is another way to do not equal. So if you're looking at someone else's SQL that they wrote and you see this, know that this stands for not equal to. And I can do that with, watch this. Let me see if this works as well. Country not equal to Mexico. And this should work. Mexico. Run the SQL. Oh, no such column as country. You see what mistake I got there? Because again, the capitalization, even when you're listing the name of the columns, it has to match exactly as far as the upper or lower case of the word. Could not prepare a statement, no such column as country. Oops, maybe I was lying to you guys. Let's try that again. I had a typo. Let's see what was happening here. Not equal word country. Not equal to. Okay, so this is not sensitive like that. You can have it lowercase and it'll still come up. But here, these expressions here that we saw from W3 School, we could also use it on if it's not a number. If it's a word, you can use it as well. So like here, you remember I had not equal to with the number 1. We can have that with not equal to Mexico. So we want every customer here. What I'm returning here is every customer that doesn't reside in Mexico or the USA. Let's change to USA, run it again, 78. So Mexico, UK, if you go through here, you get all the results. And that's not equal to, and check this out. Let's change to greater than. What's going to happen? Think about it. Basically what it's doing here is putting it in alphabetical order. So everything that comes after U is basically what it's saying. So Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So let's change this to less than and watch again what happens. So everything before USA. UK is before USA, so that's fine. So let's see here, Germany, all these. So you won't see Venezuela, excuse me. That comes after USA. So that's something pretty cool here. You can do this greater than or less than with the state or with letters as well, excuse me. Alright, so let's come back here. So that's with the where clause. Now let's jump in to the and or not. So let's say for instance we talked about the where clause. So whenever you want to specify certain conditions, you'll start with the where clause for now. There's some caveats to this, but for now, let's remember that the where clause can be combined with the and, or, and not operator. And we're going to see what the and or not operators. So the and operator displays records that are in addition to the where clause. The or operator displays a record if any of the conditions separated by or is true. So here, so we have this information we want from this table. This is condition 1, condition 2, condition 3. So we have multiple conditions that we want this table to meet. So let's go ahead and come here. Let's look at our information here. So let's say, for instance, we want it about this. So we want the country to not be in the USA, and for whatever reason we want and the customer ID to be less than, we have 91 records in here, I believe. Let's look, cheat again. Let's look up here, 91 records. So where the record is less than 50, the customer ID is less than 50, excuse me. So let's see what happens here. 44 records come back because we have two conditions here. So whenever, like, if you have another condition besides what's stated in the where clause, you don't add another where clause. After the first where clause, you have to add and or. Okay, so that's what we have here. So we use this as the where clause, and then the next one needs to be the and statement. So let's come back here, look at the syntax for the where. So where this condition is true, and we need this condition, and we need this condition. So let's say, for instance, we don't really care. We just want one of those conditions to be true. So we can say where country this, or country, what country should we use? We'll use Mexico again. Country is not equal to Mexico. Run this. So look what happened here. This is pretty unique. So we see here where country is not equal to US or country is not equal to Mexico. And look at it here. What do we have here? And that's because it looks at this first condition first, and it's like, oh, it doesn't equal the US, but it still brings in Mexico because we have the or. What we could, like, let's say, for instance, we do want to exclude that. What we would have to do is say and. And these keywords, it doesn't matter if you capitalize it or lowercase it, like select from, where, and. Just to let you know. Should have mentioned that earlier. And or country is not equal to UK. Oops. UK. So let's run this and see what we get. Same thing's happening again. And the reason, let's go look back at our syntax. Let's switch this around. Wait 1 second. See what I'm expecting here is to exclude these two. Take this out, run this SQL. So this will return what we want to see. With the or statement, let's go here and look at their example. This is kind of what we have here, but let's see. Okay, so let's change this to not equal to, and this changes to equal to. That will demonstrate what we're trying to show here. So where country is equal to USA or country is equal to Mexico, and we should get both of them back. We should get countries that are in the USA and countries that are in Mexico. So we see here, Mexico, USA. That's all we have back. So what I was trying to do is, I guess it kind of didn't make sense, and I kind of see what they're saying. But I was saying, basically, let me put it back. It's saying pick which one. Either it's not in the USA or it's not in Mexico. So if it's, and what will happen, it'll meet this first condition. It's kind of like a decision tree. It goes down. It's like, oh, it's not in the USA. All right, let's include it, and it won't even go down to the Mexico. Now, if it gets to 1, let me run this and show you. So what's happening is like, oh, this is not in USA, this is not in USA, this is not in USA. So it's meeting that condition. Once we meet that condition, it just stops. So that's why the OR wasn't working here earlier. And if I don't want both of them, then I have to do ands. And that's what my mistake was. So we'll leave it here with OR. So this, as far as this statement, the syntax is correct, but the logic is not correct. That's the best way I can describe that mistake I was making there. So let's go ahead and change this back. Let's run this and see what our output would be. 78. So it's basically, again, saying the same thing, where the country is not in the US or country is equal to Mexico. And that was basically the same thing we had before. So let's go back to W3 School. Let's see what they say. So they have the example of where the city's in Berlin, or I'm probably butcher this, so I'm not going to try. These are the two options. And that's what we deal with Mexico and the US. We're like, hey, where's the country in the US or Mexico? Again, this one they use Germany and Spain. And now let's get to the not. So let's say we're countries not, which is basically what we said here, not. So we're country not, we're not country equals to Germany. So we put it right here. And I'll show you this, the way I was about to do it is a different way, but we're not there yet. That's when we start talking about the end statements. So let me take this out. Run that. And our results didn't change. Select all these columns from customer, where not country, and the US. And basically, the reason I don't do it this way, because when I'm reading it to myself, it doesn't sound correct, but it is correct. That's why I always do this. And you see here the numbers didn't change. So this is the same as not. So here, let's look at this example here. So select star from customer. So we're going to return every column from the customer table where the country equals Germany and the city is either in Berlin or, again, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, I'll butcher it. Sorry about that. And we have another example here. Select star from customer where the country is not in Germany and not in the US. So let's go ahead and look at that. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so let's try that. So country. Oh yeah, we did try that, but let's try again. Where country is not equal to US and country not equal to. Let's go. And we'll get 73. And that's because we use the and statement with the not. And then here, let's review some of the exercise, and we'll wrap this up real quick here. So select all records where the city column has the value Berlin, and the postal code column has a value of 12209. So again, what do we want to do? We want to select one thing. So always start with select. Let's start the exercise. So let's do select everything from customer. And after, when we start our, remember, when we first start our condition statements, we'll have to include a where. And then after that, we don't include another where. So what's the next thing we want to do? And kind of gives us a hint here. So and remember, these are not case sensitive, these keywords in SQL. And what? In the postal code, postal code equals this. So the answer, we're good. Let's go to the next exercise. Okay, select all records where the city column has a value Berlin or London. So again, what are we doing? Selecting. We want stuff. So select star from customer. And remember, the first condition that we have in our select statement is always starting with where city equals Berlin. And do we want Berlin and London or either or? So we want or. So we come down here, we write or. And then again, what are we looking for? What's the condition? City. Remember, we learned this already to use our quotes when it's text. And the city is London. Submit. We're good on that one. Alright, so that should wrap up. Before we wrap up, excuse me, let me go ahead and have a checkpoint. Again, one thing with this is always practice. The more practice you get, the better you'll get at SQL. It's just repetition, and then it's with everything like that. So create a report for orders on 7/4/96. So we didn't touch on dates, but I'll show you how to do that here. So select star from orders where I believe, I don't know what's in this table, so let me run it again to see order date. Order date equals, what do you want? 6 hyphen 07. Was it 06? I think it's mentioned. Oh, July 4th. Let's see if this runs. Let's see if we need single quotes. Again, see syntax near this. So what do we need? Single quotes. So let's come back here, add our single quotes. Still not working. So let's oh, look at me, guys. We need our where statement. Run it, and it comes back. Let's see if it works without single quotes. Nope, it does not. So with these dates, the way they are stored, it needs single quotes. Oops. Okay. So run that. So bam, we have that taken care of. So what products in the category are more than $5? So let's go here, categories. And again, I don't remember everything in this table, so I'll do select start. Again, if it's a bigger table, you don't want to do it this way. Let's see, did I make a mistake here? What product in category 1 are more than $5? So let's go to the products table. Let's look here. Run this. Okay. So let's look at it. So what products in category 1 are more than $5? So we want the where statement, where category ID is equal to 1. Again, we don't need the single quotes, and we need an and statement because we want the price to be more than $1. Price is greater than $5. Excuse me, 5. Again, this should have been an integer or a double. So let's run this or float. 11 records come back that are in category ID 1 that are more than $5. Excuse me. So that's how this report comes back. Let's check again. What customers are from USA or Germany? So we need a where and a or statement. So select from customers table. Table where again. I'm going to cheat here because I'm not 100% sure what's in that table, but look, or I don't remember exactly. So where country is equal to USA or country is equal to Germany. And let's run this. Okay, so we have 24. Let's say I made a mistake here. This is how it could be very, like they need some kind of report or something. So I have 24. Let's say I accidentally typed it on lowercase Germany. 13. A big difference. 10 customers are being left off of whatever. It might be marketing or whoever it may be that needs that information. So definitely, like you guys seen it, I've made a lot of errors. Always double check your work because it's very easy to make these little errors. So run this query. 24 records. So 11 customers being left off. Excuse me. Okay. What customers are in the U.S. but not from Portland and Walla Walla? Let's copy that. So same table again. Where customers in the U.S. And this time it's going to be and because what are they asking us? What customers are in the U.S. but not from Portland? So the city. Now I'm going to show you a different way to do this later on, but for now we're going to do it this way. Walla Walla. And I'll have another statement and city not equal to Portland. So run this. 12 records. And then I'm going to copy this out just to make sure we're getting the right things. Control X. Run. So that doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies because let's go back here and see if we can figure out our mistake. So here's my mistake right here. Watch this, guys. Look at this. So we saw total people in the US is 13 and we're returning 12. So do we have anybody in Walla Walla? No. But look at this. Portland. And you know why that mistake happened? Because if you look carefully, I have this little space here. So it will pick up that space in the single quotes and put it in there. So this doesn't match Portland exactly. If I delete this, run the SQL, 10. And that's the correct number. So again, like I said, it's there's other things around that mistake that happened there that we could do to avoid that. It's very important to pay attention to these spaces. Okay, did we answer all the questions today? I believe so. Yep. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this lesson today. Sorry it took a little while. We had some stumbling blocks, but hey, we're getting there. We're getting better. And keep practicing. Like create your own little scenarios with these tables and ask yourself questions. Hey, what would I want to see? What would I expect? Just again, I can't emphasize it enough. Practice makes perfect. So hopefully everybody enjoyed today's episode, and please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what's working, what's not working for you, and we'll touch back on the next episode. Have a good day.